Ladies and gentlemen,
everybody wants the prize, but nobody wants to pay the price.
Can they be pushed? Do they have a sense of urgency? Do they want to be great?
And then of course you look at them and be like, yeah, right.
Everybody wants to be on your team when you're on top.
I saw the angel and the marble and I carved until I set him free.
Go be somebody, bro.
But the most important part of the Be Somebody journey is the resilience.
Welcome to the Be Somebody Podcast, your real and raw destination for all things entrepreneurship, leadership, and culture, with your host, Kash Shaikh, and our CEO and founder of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. Welcome to episode 11 of the Be Somebody Podcast. A big shout out to all of our listeners, supporters, and subscribers of the podcast. I'm your co-host, Kash Shaikh, with our founder and CEO of Be Somebody Inc. and BSB Group International, Kash Shaikh. What's going on, Kash?
What's going on, man? You're closer again. You're back.
Yep.
You inched a few inches too close though this time.
Man. I know. I got a little too close.
You missed me over there, so you're trying to creep, man. You're trying to creep a little bit.
It was interesting because when I was there, I started getting comfortable there, watching everything from here, and now I'm here, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of different.
I know. Yeah, for those of you who didn't hear episode 10,
go listen to it.
It was an amazing episode with Colleen Lindholtz, the president of Kroger Health. She was actually in studio. The first time we had a guest in studio. Because of this pandemic, we haven't been able to have anyone in. We have people calling in, but we've been working with Colleen, trying to help on the front lines of their great work in healthcare and grocery. Yeah. So she's been out working. We've been working with her. Yeah. So, we were talking earlier. So she said, I'm going to come in. Yep. I'm just going to come in. So we were like, wow, how do we handle this? How do we space everyone out? So we threw Vikas over into the corner over there. Kicked Herbie out. But now we're back, man. Now we're back. So it's good to see you up close again, man.
I really enjoyed not only listening to Colleen, but just having a guest in here. I'm looking forward to once we're able to do that more, and exciting to see, what everyone brings.
It's been really hard for me, to be honest, as a leader during this crisis, because you're so torn. A part of you feels for everything that people are going through.
Yep.
And you're going through it as well. Yeah. So you kind of understand it, and you say, okay, people want to feel safe, people want to feel secure, people are apprehensive about going out into the world, working or not. Some people on our team are actually still coming to the office and helping with the work. Some people are staying at home. So you understand all that aspect, but then you also need to think through like the business implications of everything and the financials, and say, okay, how do we balance wanting to keep the team together and growing even with the fact that some people got a lot on their plate, some people don't. Right. With the fact that you have to still run a business. Right. You still have to run a business. You still got to pay the bills. Like, we're in a building right now. It's not like they stopped charging us rent. Right. I wish they would, because we're not using the office, but they're still charging us rent. We're still paying bills. We're still accountable to things. So, like, it's been really hard for me, honestly, and I don't think I'm doing a great job of it. I'm trying to figure it out. I keep trying to learn of how to balance all these different factors where you care about your team and you want to help them, and you want to appreciate what they're going through, and we're all going through, but then you still have to deliver the results and drive the business. Right. And I'm always hopeful that that's going to be the fire and the spark
that everyone needs,
that people need to then go above and beyond, and no, some people aren't going to be as busy as before. Some people, we always say 1 to 10, on a 1 to 10, 10 being the busiest you've ever been in your life, 1 being you ain't doing Right. For us to be where we want to be, we have to execute our lean team of all-star strategy, which is the least amount of people necessary to do great work. And part of that great work is the capacity that you have, and we need you to be on a level 8. Yep. On a 1 to 10, we need you to be on a level 8. And right now, a lot of people at the company aren't on an 8, but a few people are on a 12, 13, 14, or 18. And what I'm trying to understand and manage and learn through as a leader is, what do we do with those folks that are below? And I believe that there's winning leadership behavior that people can still display and show, even if they're lower on that continuum of capacity and work. So even if you're a 4, 5, or 6, which ain't really good for our company, but if you're on that, but you're displaying winning behavior, like making an extra phone call to see where you can support a team member of yours, upskilling yourself, in a relevant area when you know that we have a lot of content that needs to be created, and maybe you can learn how to put a bumper on a video or learn how to do a cross dissolve or a fade somewhere, creating content for social media that speaks to the benefits of the company or the work that we're doing.
Right.
There's a lot of things people could be doing, and even if it doesn't push them up to where we normally would be, myself as leader could notice it and be like, that's the character, the type of person that we want. When people aren't doing things, or if people choose not to, then you start to really question, okay, well, are these the right folks? No one knows how long this crisis is going to last.
Yeah, right.
I hope it's over in a month. It might be 6 months, it might be 9 months, it might be a year. Who knows?
Right.
So we have to really be living with the intentionality, with our work ethic, with what we wake up to do every morning. Because one of our principles, as you know, Vikas, is that we're all in this together, and the way that you show that is through your work and your work ethic.
We're all experiencing this for the first time. You just said it again, even as a leader, like trying to get better and stuff. So really respect that a lot as a true leader. So thank you.
Thanks, man. But does it make you want to like smoke something or ingest something? Because we got an amazing guest on there, and I don't think it's illegal what we're talking about,
no,
right?
It's
in
not.
most states, right? 50 states, it's legal now, right?
Yes, what we're about
because
to talk
we're
about.
going to be talking CBD today.
Oh yeah,
we're going to be talking CBD today.
Not THC, CBD.
Yeah, CBD. Right? And Vikas, you're the expert on that. I don't know anything about this, man. I'm a rookie, man. I didn't. I'm an athlete, man. I didn't play around. I didn't mess around with all that stuff. Mom, I didn't do anything. But CBD is legal in all 50 states.
Yep.
CBD sales in the U.S. alone are projected to surpass $20 billion in 2024.
Wow.
About 15% of Americans say that they currently use CBD, and about 40% say that they're interested in trying it. A lot of us, myself included, are not fully clear on what it is.
What it is, right.
So I'm excited to figure that out today.
Yep, exactly.
But also what I saw was interesting recently, that researchers in Israel are launching clinical trials to test CBD as a potential treatment to COVID-19. So, a lot of people take CBD as pain relief, things like that. They're actually going to try testing different forms of CBD as a treatment to COVID-19, and we'll see.
Yeah.
So CBD has been a very, hot topic, a fast-growing industry in a lot of ways. A lot of startups emerging in that space, and today we've got the CEO of one of those startups, one of my good friends, Badal Shah, who's going to be on the show. I've known Badal. We used to hoop together back in the day. I was fine guys. I played ball.
How many of our guests have you hooped with?
I know, man. I mean, I for some reason, I used to be part of this, Indo-Pac National Basketball League, man, where you meet all these people, and we used to hoop together, and Badal was from Chicago, and I played on the Houston team, and he was part of that pretty boy Chicago team.
Oh.
I mean, you got to look this kid. You got to look this kid. I used to look at him and be like, damn, that dude's pretty. I'm like, man, I wanted to be the pretty boy, but this dude's he's whooping my ass in that. But he could ball too.
Yeah.
He's about 6'5", 6'6". I wanted to hate on him, but he was such a genuine guy, nice guy, and really good basketball player, by the way. And he's always been supportive of me. And Be Somebody through the whole journey. Now BSB Group, our sister company, and of course now with the podcast. He's always been supportive. He's always been a believer. He's never been a hater. He's always been saying, man, I believe in what you're doing. I'm inspired by it. So, and I've always been inspired by what he's doing, because he's built company after company after company, which you'll talk about. So I'm really pumped to have him on the show, and we'll see where it goes, and hopefully we figure out what the hell CBD is, man. I'm going to rub it on me later on or something.
I'm excited right now, Badal. I hope you're ready. Let's welcome to the show a leader that graduated from Indiana University with his bachelor's degree, went on to get his MBA from Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University, was the co-founder and CEO of Turbo Appeal, which got acquired by Paradigm Tax Group, and he became their chief marketing officer, and is now the CEO of Anthos Group, and is an active angel investor in over 37 startups. Please welcome from Chicago, Illinois, Badal Shah. Woo! Nap, we got him on the line? All right.
What's happening, guys?
What's going on? 37 startups, man. What the hell, man? Hey, you can invest in us. It's only $7 million for 0.1% of the company, man. I mean, if you're interested.
Sounds like good terms.
Exactly. Man, it's great to have you on the show, bro. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Cash. Great to be here.
I was just reminiscing with Vikas before the show, and obviously talked about, just as we were introducing you, of how you always been such a great supporter and kind of co-believer in the things that I was doing, and I always believed in the things that you were doing, man. So I just really appreciate that. It's always a beautiful thing to come full circle with people like that, because there's not too many people that are always positively rooting for you. Right. So I always appreciate that about you, man.
Likewise, only those that are in the grind know what it's like, right? So we had each other's back throughout. We'll always continue, and it's been great. It's been really a lot of fun to watch you, Cash and Vikas.
Before we jump into what you're doing about this kind of emerging industry, I'd love for you to share a little bit more background on your personal journey and really how you got to where you are today.
Sure, absolutely. I think it all starts really with, my father was an entrepreneur, and so seeing him growing up and the grind and the sacrifice and really never being around, not by choice, but by necessity, to make it work for our family was just something that really became ingrained in me. And so initially my first entrepreneurial experience was really with him and the family chemical business that we had. Myself, my brother, and him built a business that, taught me a lot of things. And we spent, it was really the hustle of doing it from scratch and bootlegging and trying to make something out of very little. Traveling, living in hostels, didn't have the ability to even pay for international cell phone plans, would be. So I learned a lot about the grind and what you had to do to, my dad always told me, if you're not in front of the customer, somebody else is. And I think that's the biggest takeaway I got from that business was just always making sure we were adding value to the relationship and organic, true, authentic value. And, fortunately, we grew that business. It was really in specialty chemicals, catered to a variety of applications that are heavily regulated industries. And when we sold that business, I went and started getting more involved in technology and investing in startups. And as an angel, learned a lot about the to-dos and the not-to-dos.
When did you guys sell that business, Badal?
That was 2017.
We always talk about it. I mean, I look at a sign right now in our podcast studio that says the grind open 24/7. So for you as an entrepreneur, how would you define or articulate what that grind is?
Man, it's the grind to me is just, it's when you are so in tune with what you're doing that it's not about the money. It's about the value you add to the relationships in the situations you're in and how you go about it and influence others in your organization to always be better. And that never stops. And I think, for me, it was always a learning experience and surrounding yourself by people, whoever they were, to learn something from and just continue to improve yourself. And so it just never stops. You're always thinking about it. When you go to sleep, you're really thinking more, and you wake up energized about how you can improve that next day, and it continues to fuel you. And to me, I think that grind just still never stopped, and to today.
Because when you guys exited or sold the company in 2017, then you guys moved into technology, and I know that Turbo Appeal seemed to have been one of the next steps, right?
Yeah, you know what happened, man. When we sold in January 2017. You think you've been waiting for this moment, but all this blood, sweat, and tears, you're waiting for the wires to come in, and you think that's the biggest moment in your life. And, 3 minutes after the wire hit, my best friend's wife passed away. And it just hit me, in terms of what is really important in life. And for me, from that moment, I wanted to challenge myself to be highly passionate about what I was doing and then also have impact. That became very important to me as I realized, how what you always think about what success means, and then you kind of you achieve some of it, and then you realize that's not really the definition was wrong the whole time. So I did. I launched this software company, co-founded it with my professor and a very good friend of mine, to appeal property tax, to help homeowners appeal property taxes nationally. It was a huge issue. I felt that a lot of people were being taken advantage of. And so we built a software to try to bring that power back to the consumer to contest their taxes and really keep that money that seemed to be where they seemed to be overvalued in their properties and therefore paying too much on their taxes. So that was, we launched that and very shortly after actually the exit of the chemical business. And fortunately, it went well. But what was most important about it was just how many people we were able to really help. And that was kind of the big thing for me. The eye-opening thing for me is being able to do, obviously make money and have a good business, but more importantly, really help a lot of people.
It's so true, man, because I always say that, money can't be the number one thing. And I think actually for me, when I left like the corporate world and started building Be Somebody, I was a little bit confused on where it should fall, where should the financial piece fall, and almost had like that inner debate with myself. And I finally, after coming out of a lot of that personal development and growth, realized that for me personally, like money isn't number one. It's in my top three. It's number three for me. And number one is to make a positive impact on the world. Legacy, things like that. And number two is to build that mechanism that makes that impact with people that I love and care about, people that I love, going to work with and I enjoy being around. And number three is hopefully be successful and make some money doing it. And I think that's really helped me get my mind where it needs to be. If I didn't have the number one, that broader purpose, then I wouldn't be fulfilled in the work, because I've had jobs in the past where I was making good money, but I didn't have the fulfillment and purpose and vision. But also, if I didn't have number three, which is the financial, then I wouldn't be able to serve as many people, because I always see like money as a symptom, not a purpose. And I think that being able to build a successful business enables you to employ more people, help more people, make some more investments, grow, that type of thing. So to me, the balance of those three things, of the impact that you're making in number one, the right people around you, and then strong business and financial success as well, has been pretty powerful.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's, and I saw you doing that. I remember when you and I were at CES in Vegas, and we sat down and had dinner, and you told me about when you were thinking about making the jump. Mm-hmm. And you had the opportunity to live a great financial lifestyle, and you were making great money, and you were doing a lot of great things at that moment, and you were going to, basically leave it all, right, for the unknown.
Right.
And so you've lived what you just said, man, and I agree completely. I think it teaches us that the grind is actually what we end up appreciating the most, and then combine that with a purpose of impact that you're able to create, and then success ultimately comes, and it's a good formula.
Right. I was just saying at the top of the show of trying to learn as a leader and get better as a CEO, and being in this kind of mental struggle right now of wanting to take care of my team, and luckily, because we're blessed, our company is doing well, kind of actually growing during this pandemic. So how do we even expand our team, but also still hold people accountable in this kind of era of social distancing, because not everybody has everything on, the same amount of work on their plate. Some people are, working their ass off. Some people are kind of taking spring break, early summer vacations right now with the social distancing. And I'm really just trying to look at my team and say, how do I keep this team accountable? And I'm just interested for you as a leader, one, like how have you approached kind of growing and managing your teams? And then also, how are you approaching it now today within this current crisis?
Well, first of all, I think I'm very blessed. We really have a great team, and I say that because they're very entrepreneurial and look at challenges as opportunities. And so for me, it's been able to, the challenge, or I'd say my opportunity here has really been, how do we continue to, through the framework we've created about challenges in general, as a startup in our industry that's still the Wild West or whatever it may be, how do we continue to view those, approach those as opportunities? And that culture that we've built of doing that, plays very well, obviously, into the current situation. Obviously, you don't want to take advantage of situations of like this that are grim for many, but we actually feel it's our mission and we can help. And we're very committed. We're very committed. Our whole team is very committed to doing what we can to help. And our products, fortunately, do help. And so it's a win-win. It's a win-win. By us growing and getting our products into more hands, to becoming more innovative and doing more development and launching new products for different verticals. We're really passionate about that because we're getting great testimonials. And as we see more of that impact, it's really easy to continue on this grind and, working around the clock because, we're feeling really good about the validation in the market.
I was listening to Vikas read off your bio, and actually before we got you on the phone, he did the full one, which was like CEO of this, CEO of that, CEO of this. Like, I'm like, man, this dude been CEO of everything. So I'm like, how has your leadership style and your approach to kind of leading your teams evolved from your first stint as CEO to now?
Man, it sounds cliche, but I think the one thing, if I reflect, is I've never been the smartest one in the room. I think, where I could lead is having great people around me and then just being able to work as hard as possible and set the example on work ethic, on positivity, on culture and teamwork, where we come together knowing that their leader is going to do anything for them. But at the end of the day, I'm expecting them to make the tough decisions because they're experts around the table that know subject matter better than I do. And so for me, I see it more as, a quarterback kind of distributing the ball, right? Or I should say a point guard, good in our world.
Yeah, but you can't dribble that well, man. So I don't know. Maybe stick to quarterback.
Yeah, so exactly. But so that's, for me, it's always been about that. I'm, always trying to seek out the best people that know a certain subject matter that's a gap of ours much better than anybody else does on our team. And as that's combined, especially, these last few businesses, that's proved to really help me with a more holistic view on, okay, here's the industry, here's the market, here's where we can be innovative, here's the competitive landscape, and now we got a real business that we can launch.
What do you do when one of your team members isn't delivering?
It's a great question. We've all had that. I think for me, the first thing I seek to do is try to motivate them because I don't think not delivering is necessarily an issue with skill set or aptitude. I think in many cases it's a lack of motivation, not being aligned with incentives, or perhaps miscommunication or lack of communication. So I think the first thing I do is really go address the incentives and the motivation. Are they there? Has something changed? What's going on personally? Has that affected or impacted? Are there things that we can help out as colleagues, as an organization to improve their situation? Or has it truly just been, a miss, right? It just wasn't the right hire, wasn't the right fit. And then if that's the case, then, we go our separate ways. But I always feel that, you got to take that person into account, understand in a 360 level what is really going on in their life that's now impacting their performance.
The type of leadership that I'm learning and trying to get better at now is understanding when it isn't the right fit and being able to make those tough decisions, because I think we're in a day and age now, and because we talked about it a lot at the top of the show, of like really understanding how important it is to have the right people to weather the current storm that we're in.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
But anyway, CBD, man, what the hell is CBD? We don't know.
Educate us.
Yeah. So, and it's interesting because CBD is growing so fast to help for a variety of indications, but it is the Wild West, and many don't necessarily know what it is, but a lot of people know that they should use it. And so CBD is essentially, in this case, for our business, it's a hemp-derived cannabinoid that is really the most popular because of a variety of health benefits that have quite a bit of evidence around pain, anxiety, and sleep. and really just quality of life improvement. And so because of that, it's been really touted as this natural medicinal product that can help in a variety of applications, whether it be through topicals, ingestibles, to help people with their daily life, and as a substitute in many cases to a variety of pharmaceutical drugs that they might be taking. And so really it blew up when it all became legal after the Farm Bill was passed last year, and in 18. And when that happened, you saw hundreds, if not thousands, of companies come into market and in a variety of ways in trying to whether it be cultivate hemp or finish, end products.
And Badal, explain to our listeners and for us, like, why did you get into CBD?
So this venture, and I do think this is probably my last, is it's really, really important to me. And it's important because I came from the chemical world where all I saw was processed chemicals. We would supply ingredients and products that went into these end applications. And I would cringe knowing consumers would be consuming these things, not really knowing, what could happen from all these chemicals and these processed type products. And so for me, I knew one day, going back to the impact part, I wanted to do something that was, especially with having kids and trying to teach them about the right thing and how to live a healthy lifestyle. I never chose a route of pharmaceutical drugs or even when they'd be sick, and I try to stay away from even the Tylenols and the Advils. And so this, as I learned more about CBD, and I learned that it's really kind of nature's healer in a way, it was intriguing to me because I saw it as a substitute and a way to help a lot of people. And then I suffered from a very, very bad back injury, and it led me to a life that was very dark, and suffered from depression. It was about 3.5 years of a really dark time in my life. And as I was coming out of that, I started doing more and more of these kind of natural type homeopathic solutions, and CBD was on that list, and it had really helped me. And so, it became a dream of just how do we take this to the world, but do it the right way, where still not processed, still natural, it's done and high, has the efficacy to help people, and it changed my quality of life. And so that's really what made me kind of put 2 feet into this.
That's awesome, man. And I'm so glad that you're doing better and feeling better. And it's always, it always feels like when something begins from a personal experience or a personal passion, there's always so much more fire behind it. And so I love that this, you say it's going to be your last venture. We'll see. But I love that this is kind of like the pinnacle that we're at right now. But so what is the Anthos group doing? Are you guys end to end? Like, how are you managing the whole process, the discovery, the supply chain, the marketing of it? Like, what role do you all play?
Yeah, so Anthos was formed as actually a merger of a company I co-founded along with 2 individuals, just great guys that were really entrepreneurs that got into the hemp space early and began cultivating hemp. And as we met and we started working together, our synergies really hit it off. And I loved their vision in terms of thinking differently, really worried and concerned about the end consumer and the natural and regulatory climate and things like this. So what we did is we merged companies. Anthos Group is a vertically integrated hemp cultivator and CBD and other cannabinoid end manufacturer. So we make finished products for a wide variety of topicals and ingestibles for really, again, focused on pain, sleep, and anxiety. And that vertical integration really helps us control the supply chain, control the quality. We have a R&D facility and a quality control facility to ensure, maximizing the efficacy. And we work, very closely with a lot of clinicians and scientists across the country to continue to do more and more research into this space.
Have you guys actually hit the market yet? Because I've seen some of your initial kind of marketing, but I wasn't sure where you guys are from a distribution or direct-to-consumer standpoint.
Yeah, so we had been typically B2B, and then we launched our B2C side just earlier this year with our brand called Cyto CBD. And fortunately, that's gone really well. So we're starting to extend ourselves into other verticals that are now really interested in the benefits of CBD. So one particularly is sports. And so we're launching, in fact, in 2 months, we're launching a brand new line called Tidal. And that's really about, refueling those comeback stories through a plant-based, natural product line. And we're really excited about that launch. But Cyto and Tidal are the two brands that Cyto we've rolled out and Tidal will be rolling out.
Man, that sounds cool, man. If you need a company to do marketing and brand building for you or digital, we know a company called BSB Group International. I know the owner. We might be able to help out.
We can test the product too,
Hey man, exactly. you guys are number one on the list. We're coming to you guys soon. We're just about ready.
Well, it's awesome, man. I mean, what's been one of the biggest things that you've learned, Badal, as you've been kind of transitioning from the B2B side to the B2C with Cyto?
I think anytime you market towards consumers and as they should be, are very picky, have expectations that in some cases can be very difficult. And I think that's really helped us improve our game, right? Make sure that our standards, not only on the quality of the product, it's one thing of actually delivering the product. It's the other thing on making sure they understand the journey of that and the benefits and how to consume our product. And in cases where they have great testimonials, how to share their understanding and their testimonials and how to make sure that we're a resource. I think in this space, because it's the Wild West still, consumers have expectations around who's going to educate me, who's going to ensure that what I'm getting is all natural, is free of contaminants. So we've learned a lot about how do we go to market to kind of hold hands with our consumers and, let them know we're there for them, really, in education and quality.
Yeah, I think it's so important, man. When you go B2C, the story is so important. And you guys have such a rich story because of where the inspiration for your journey into CBD started, what you went through and kind of what you were seeking. So I think that's going to be really powerful. But how has this pandemic affected what you're doing and the company and the business?
We're seeing in terms of as this first hit and we started hearing about shelter in place, we immediately put a contingency plan in place. We communicated to our board, to our investors, because we weren't sure of what was going to happen. But what we did know was we need to navigate the time of this pandemic to come out on the other side healthy and stable. And that was our first goal. As we dove in very quickly, I'm talking maybe within a few days, we started seeing demand really, really take off. And so when we went from a mentality of, guys, here's a contingency plan, salary freezes, let's get through this and just make sure we're okay, to growth, that was a really interesting transition suddenly overnight. And so, I got to give credit to our team. We have such a great team. Everyone was very nimble, very positive, excited to focus on that growth and do what was necessary. So it's been, in that sense, it's been a very opportunistic time. And we're looking now not only in terms of growth from sales, but we're looking very much at the market of how do we end on the other side of this pandemic as a market leader. So we're doing things, making investments, continuing with our growth plans. For example, we're adding some highly sophisticated technical and capabilities to be able to, when we come on the other side of this, to be positioned as one of the leaders in the space that can both serve the industry from a B2B side, but also with two brands that are scalable and ready for global growth.
We always talk about, and we've talked about a lot on different episodes, that there will be some companies that don't come out of this crisis, which is unfortunate, but there'll also be some companies that come out stronger and that come out even more strategically positioned to succeed. And, what I've been excited about is we've talked to people in alcohol and spirits, we've talked to people in retail, we've talked to people in grocery, we've talked to people in fitness, we've talked to people in CBD now.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of smart decisions and strategic levers being pulled by entrepreneurs to try to position themselves in the best place to succeed. Obviously, we don't know, when things will start to evolve, and we don't know how things can shake out. But I always tell people, man, one of the things for me as an entrepreneur I've always been proud of is there's always been a strategic reason behind what we did. Sometimes they work, and when they work, everyone thinks you're a genius. When they don't, everybody thinks you're an idiot. It's like the baseball coach who pulls the pitcher in the ninth and then put the new relief pitcher comes in and gives up the home run is an idiot, but and if he strikes him out, then he's a genius. So it's the same thing in entrepreneurship.
100%. But I think, the big thing there, you got to be willing to go take that. And that's what goes back to the leaders, and the type of people you have at the table is you always have to be comfortable in taking that risk. And I think, we're in that mentality. It's time to go for it. Right. We've thought and we've been methodical, and we've, waited and taken the gut punches, and now it's go time. So I think you got to be comfortable when you make that call and just go with it.
Yep.
Badal, I have a little bit of a personal question to ask you. My father-in-law has Parkinson's, and we've heard a lot of research about how CBD oils and stuff can help, but the market is so saturated. I mean, literally, there are so many products out there, so many different brands.
Yeah, no doubt, man. There's a lot. There's a lot out there, and that's what makes it hard for consumers to choose. For us, what we continue to focus on is our relationships with the clinicians, and we probably do more business with doctors than any other brand. And the reason we started that is because we knew that having that focus on efficacy and quality, doctors weren't going to recommend a brand that they didn't see results from, right? And so, for example, if actually in Parkinson's, although we can't make claims in our industry, there's not clinical data yet out there, we are able to share testimonials from patients or from consumers that have had good experiences. And we've actually had multiple specifically within Parkinson's, and I will share that with you and would love to help. But in terms of differentiating from other brands, everyone's got to kind of choose how they do it. For us, you're not going to see us necessarily paying some big celebrity to post on Instagram, right? For us, we stick to the data and the science and the research. Our positioning is very much clinical. So we have a team of experts that help us every day push the needle on how do we improve clinically, and how do we get data to show the efficacy. And we think that's a long-term game to win this industry. I still think we're in inning one, pitch one in this industry. And I think, in order to survive, you're going to have to take an approach that's very research-based so consumers can trust you and can benefit from your product. Now, if they buy it once and they don't benefit, they're not coming back because there's so many offerings. So for us, our goal is we have 97% retention. Why is that? Because we believe our consumers believe in our product because they use it, it works, and so why change?
Awesome. How's the family doing, man? How's the family doing? How have you guys been coping with shelter in place, social distancing, all that?
Man, I could say it's been incredible. So I have a 7-year-old and 9-year-old daughter, 7-year-old son, and they're doing their e-learning thing, and it's cool because they are learning more about this entrepreneurial journey than I think they ever have, because normally they're at school, I'm gone, but now they see it. They see the grind. They see, that I'm up, many cases, 2 a.m. every night. They know that I've been working all night, get up, say hi to them, breakfast, and then back to it. And I think for me, it means a lot because that's where I saw my dad, and that's what kind of instilled the work ethic. I think these kids are going to be coming into a world when they grow up that's going to be so competitive, with AI and all that other stuff, that it's going to be work ethic that's going to differentiate a lot of these people. And so for me, just trying to really teach them that. And this time during this pandemic has really helped me do that, And then, of course, not traveling is really nice. I've never spent this much time in my entire life at once.
Right. Yeah, traveling. We've been saying that. Yeah.
So that's been really nice. And of course, my wife's been great. She's really supportive. So we're enjoying it.
I love the full circle generational component about you growing up kind of watching your dad grind and then getting into the business and becoming a great entrepreneur yourself. And now one of the silver linings of this crisis is that now your kids, now Karina and MJ, now they're watching you do your thing, which is pretty awesome, man.
Well, it is cool how life is full circle, man. It's when I was listening to your podcast about you and Cuban right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I would say everything comes full circle when you follow your passion. But I did run up to Mark Cuban and was like, Mark, what the hell, man? But no, he's But no, it was cool, man. But awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the show, man. I know we could talk for so much longer. Love everything that you're doing and really excited to see the products and the brands that you're building. Love that the rationale and inspiration for you to get in the space was so pure, man, because I think when it starts there, then you know that you're going to have that resilience in you and that fire in you to keep going when the times do get tough, and as we know they will. And they do. So just really happy for you, man, and just excited to reconnect.
Hey, likewise, Cash. I really appreciate you guys having me. And congratulations with everything going on with Be Somebody. Been following you guys since day one and super excited and proud.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Badal. So awesome. I'm sure it's super exciting for you to be able to reconnect with people that have been following you on the journey, right? And that was awesome. And Badal, just everything that they're doing, what he's building, has just been great.
All of us are connected to so many people on social media, and we've got, thousands of friends and followers, but there's always just a few people that you really, really do know and that you really do believe in. And Badal's one of those people that I know whatever he's getting into, he's going to be successful because he's got the right mindset, he's got the right work ethic, he's got the right DNA.
Yeah.
Remember Henry Cejudo talked about, what was that, episode 6, about DNA.
Right.
He's like, you can't, he talked about a fighter's DNA. And I really believe entrepreneurship and leaders, you got that DNA too, man.
Yep.
And Badal's got it, so I know he's going to be successful, man.
Yeah, and honestly, it goes to a testament to you, Cash, because, in a previous episode, in episode 10, I think we've talked with Colleen about surrounding yourself with successful people and the right people. And so having people that you have grown up with or have met along the journey that are successful in their own way, it goes to speaking about surrounding yourself with those right people. So
right. Well, and also, I have a lot of people I grew up with that aren't that successful, right, yeah. but the people I choose to stay close with are people who are doing either doing big things or trying to do big things and doing it the right way.
Right.
And those are the people that inspire me. And I try to stay really close to those types of people.
What's the one big thing from talking with Badal?
Man, after every one of these episodes, I feel like there's so much, right? There's so much you can take away from each episode. But the one big thing that I took away in this conversation was that fine line between genius and idiot. So many entrepreneurs have to make these quick, gut, strategic decisions that blend both art and science without a ton of data, but you still got to take that risk and you got to go for something. And when it works, everyone is applauding you and telling you how smart you are and how you're a genius. And when it doesn't, you're an idiot. And that's why you can't get wrapped up in the wins and losses. You can't get wrapped up in the applause or the boos that you get, the love or the hate that you get from other people. You have to just believe in what you're doing and believe in the decision that you made at that time and make sure that you've made it for the right reasons. And then you take the result as it comes. Because the same people that call you a genius today are going to call you an idiot tomorrow.
Thank you, Cash. Thank you, Badal. Thank you to all of our listeners. Don't forget to check out all of our audio and video episodes at besomebody.com, and also subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all of the major podcast streaming apps. We out.
You.